I live for the applause, applause, applause. I live for the applause, applause, live for the applause, applause. Oh my god, I'm still filming. What am I doing? What am I doing? Hi everyone, I'm Kayla, and about 1,000 years ago, I asked you guys to ask me questions in the comment section, and I'm finally answering them! So let's get started with the questions. There's a lot of them. If you asked me a question in my 200 subscribers video, by the way, I reached 300 subscribers the other day, and I am just mind blown. Like, thank you so much. Like, I just cannot believe it. And special thank you to Alan Janae for shouting me out. I really appreciate it. And also Richard for shouting me out 2 months ago. And also to Cassidy, who just had her birthday. Thank you for giving me a shout out in your video as well. I hope it was a good birthday. So let's get started with the questions. If you ask me a question, I'll flash your name here because some people ask me more than one question. So let's get started. Lip gloss and zombies, my girl Gemma. She asked me, if you could live the life of any character, who would you choose? I would choose Tessa Gray, for obvious reasons, from the Infernal Devices trilogy. She's a kick-ass character, and she lives in Victorian England, which I think it would be beautiful, and she gets to party it up with Magnus Bane for eternity, among other benefits. Will Herondale. I might also choose Hermione Granger from Harry Potter or Annabeth Chase from Percy Jackson. You know, one of those people. Her next question is, if you could live in any fictional world, what would you pick? And I actually answered this in my Bookish Identity Tag video, and I think I said the Shadowhunter world. I'm gonna stick with that one. It's all about Magnus Bane, just saying. But if I had to choose something else, definitely Hogwarts. It's a go-to answer. It's obvious. Thank you for your questions, Gemma, and I'll leave all the links to these wonderful people below for you guys to go check out. My girl Amber over at Nerdy Book Lover asked me, do you have a TBR jar or a TBR bookshelf? No, I do not have a TBR bookshelf or a jar. However, I am planning on making a TBR jar video in the near future, probably this month. So I'm excited about that because I have a ton of books to read. What book genre and young adult do you love the most? Definitely fantasy. Love fantasy. Can't say enough about it. Love it so much. What is one book that has changed you as a person? And I don't really know. I know that sounds terrible, but like, I don't know a book that has changed me. I'm gonna say maybe The Fault in Our Stars, because I've been really fortunate in my life to not have to go through tragedy, and The Fault in Our Stars kind of opened my eyes to what other people have to go through and things like that, and I am so much more grateful for the life that I have lived up until this point. But I don't know if a book actually changed me. Maybe just made an impression on me, and that book definitely, go read it if you haven't read it because it's just so wonderful, and John Green is a genius, and it's gonna be a movie next year. I can't contain the feels. And I'm sorry if the lighting goes in and out in this video. It's kind of rainy outside, and it's not really good consistent lighting, but I apologize, but this had to get made because I need to put videos out more for you peeps, because I love you. Heart. My boy Richard over at Books, Boys and Such asked me what got me into reading, and also why did I decide to join BookTube. I'm actually going to make a separate video talking about my BookTube story and my reading story all in one, kind of how I got into both. So I'm going to answer briefly here but go into more detail in that video. So I got into BookTube because I started watching BookTube videos. I had never heard of a BookTuber before, and in April or May, I think, Cassandra Clare posted Christine over at Palam Banana's Books review for The Clockwork Princess on her Tumblr, and the caption said, if you have 20 minutes, go watch this. It's a fun spoiler review of Clockwork Princess. And I was like, okay, well, I'm at work doing nothing, so let's watch this. And the whole time I'm watching this video, I'm like, oh my god, so true. That's how I feel too. Oh, this is like perfect. Along the sidebar, I saw all these other related videos and I was like, oh my god, this is a thing? Video book reviews are a thing? Where have you been all my life? So I was watching and subscribing to BookTube people since March of this year. And then in July, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start doing this because I need to talk about books with people. I will never regret that decision. I love this so much. I love interacting with you guys. I love the friends that I've made. But like I said, I'm gonna go into more detail in that BookTube story video. And how I got into reading was my parents were both really into reading. I remember at 6 years old, we would take a trip like to Lancaster, which is like 45 minutes away from here, just to go to Borders because we didn't have one around here. And I just grew up reading. I grew up reading because my dad and my mom and my whole family actually pretty much reads. And I will go into more detail about that too in that video and link it below once it's posted. So thank you, Richard, for your questions. And you'll get more answers in another video. So Amanda over at My Secret Book Club, she asked me, who is your biggest inspiration in the BookTube community? I don't really have an inspiration. I have favorites, I guess. I'm going to talk about my favorites and my friends in that BookTube story video. I will have that up for you guys, and I will also give you a shout out in that video, Amanda and Richard and whoever else asked me a BookTube related question. What do you do in your spare time when you're not reading? I write, and I go to school, and I play games with my family. Love it. I text a lot. It's really bad. I'm always on social media. Go follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm obsessed. And what else do I bowl. I've been bowling since I was in the womb, like I've said in a couple videos. So yeah, there's bowling. And I love watching my television shows. I'm actually going to make a top 7 current TV shows that I'm watching. So stay tuned for that because I'll be psycho in it. And her last question is, where's your favorite place to buy books? And I'm gonna go with Amazon.com on this one. I don't know if that's cheating, but it's a lot cheaper than going to Barnes & Noble. I'd rather pay $11 for a hardback than $20. So Amazon.com, it's a problem. An addiction. My girl Nadia over at Nadia Reads asked me a couple questions, and she asked me, how did you find out about BookTube? Like I said before, it was on Cassandra Clare's Tumblr. She posted Christine's Clockwork Princess review, and it all snowballed from there. And thank God, because I love you guys so much. What is your favorite genre? Definitely fantasy. It's fantasy. Like, I can't say it enough. Fantasy. What are some of your favorite books from that genre? Where do I start? I love Harry Potter, obviously. I like the Inkheart trilogy. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that. Love the Inheritance Cycle, the Aragon books by Christopher Paolini. I love Game of Thrones for adult fantasy. The Girl of Fire and Thorns trilogy for young adult fantasy. It's beautiful. Beautiful. I actually read this book over the summer called Poison Study by Maria V. Snyder. Wonderful fantasy, wonderful. I don't know if you consider the Mortal Instruments fantasy. I think it's urban fantasy, but all of those types of books. What else can I recommend to you guys? I consider Percy Jackson fantasy because of the gods and goddess aspect, so definitely Percy Jackson. I should make a video recommending fantasy because there's so much I read. It's ridiculous. And some old-time fantasy, I really like David Eddings' The Belgariad, if you guys ever have heard of that. It's kind of older, it's like 90s, I think, but it's not like too adult, so if you're looking to like branch out into like pure fantasy, it's a great series to start with, The Belgariad by David Eddings. Well, that's a spoiler. Oh my god. Alt fantasy. Ooh. And what else? If you just want to wait a second, my girl Nadia Reads. My girl Nadia over at Nadia Reads asked a couple questions. My girl Nadia over at Nadia Reads asked me a couple. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, and I'm gonna go with Amazon. Ooh, the lighting was really bad.